Hey guys, it's Spacey Sims, and we are back with more Solstice. I actually just started to play this, and then I had a stupid Java update in my computer, and it totally broke OBS. So we get to re-record this. I was only like a couple minutes in though, so ah. I'm almost as far from uncovering who's damaging the city as I was when I first came here. This is preposterous. How could Istvan expect me to make an informed decision on suspicions alone? Not having an opinion does seem to attract people willing to sway it, though. Come in, please. Pardon my intrusion, Yani. I'm surprised you keep the door unlocked. Isn't that unsafe? Rumor has it you and Galen were in trouble already today. The culprit simply walking through my front door would certainly save me a lot of trouble. Does that mean you don't know who the killer is? Why is everyone asking me this? I really can't reveal anything about the investigation. That answers my question. It is as I expected. Listen, I have no patience left for another vague conversation. I can see you're not coping well with the pressure, but hear me out. I came to offer my help. Did you now? How very curious. I have no doubts about your intellectual prowess, Yani, but even the swiftest mind cannot simply conjure answers to questions it doesn't understand. I am only asking you to listen. You may do as you please afterwards. I do need information, but her visit is suspicious. Is she actually afraid? Yeah, like, both of these things, but I went with, is she actually afraid? You're so tense. It's unlike you. Are you really so distraught? Of course I'm frightened. Believe it or not, I would prefer to die of old age rather than in the next explosion. I agree, that would be preferable. That's why you should stop this nonsense and listen to what I have to say. Istvan demands answers, and you will have to deliver them, whether you like it or not. You can't afford to be picky about your sources. Truth. Thanks for reminding me. Yeah, thanks for reminding me. My questions would reveal most of my suspicions to you. However, you should know best of all that knowledge rarely comes without a price. But fear not, I won't abuse your trust. This place has been my home long enough for me to master its rules. I'd hate to see all that effort go to waste. The madness of the city. It seems I have no choice but to take the risk against my better judgment. You are learning fast. All right, I'm all ears. The first thing you should remember is that anyone is capable of anything. There are no innocents here. I assumed as much. However, the saboteur must have motive, which, so far, I've failed to discover. Can you help me with that? Let's start with Slava. I'm sure she used to love her husband. I'm also certain he regretted his decision to abandon his life as a scholar to travel with his adventurous wife. Did she ever forgive him for that regret? Or for turning his back on reality? Has Laura forgiven the families for ruining her life? She has every reason to hate her master, yet she never rebelled against him. Or has Yukone really abandoned the legacy of her tribe? She is terribly defensive about it. Even Kazuya. Has he left his violent ways behind? I'd like to think I know him well, but he's the only person who's never agreed to tell me his story. And what about you? So far you've not revealed any details concerning your own wickedness. I'm no saint either, but in a crowd of wrongdoers, who can distinguish the true villain? So you don't suspect anyone? My birds are going bonkers. Okay. No, I suspect everyone. Don't you? Everybody here has one reason or another to hate this place. I do too. The families took away my freedom, my identity. They left me empty. Even now it's not easy for me to talk about. My anger used to keep me awake at night. I used to loathe all these people just because they belonged to this world. I hated being alone because I began to belong to my... Oh, wait. I hated being alone because I began to belong to it myself. Okay, that makes more sense. I just had to read it for a second. Not belonging is something I can relate to very well. You don't look defeated, though. I'm not. We all got dealt a bad hand. Laura, Slava, Yukone, all taken out of our respective homes and families and forced to play by someone else's rules. I could be considered lucky. After teaching me their customs and traditions, Istvan's brother began treating me like a human being. He grew to love me and became the only family I had. The feelings I had for him extend to Istvan now. I have no reason to destroy what I have earned, if that's what you're wondering. Who does, then? I have a feeling you're asking about someone in particular. I am. What about Sam? He was the last person to see Lev alive. Was he? That would add up, wouldn't it? What do you mean? Sem seems so very calm. Here we go again with the vague innuendos. Come on, it's you who wanted this conversation. Ever since he came to this city, Sem has kept to himself. He hasn't harmed anyone, nor has he been particularly helpful. Monstrous. Curious. Nobody is so unobtrusive. It stands out around here. So he must be evil incarnate. Is that what you're trying to tell me? Oh no, nobody would mind it if he was evil. It's far worse than that. He's not an idiot. I've checked. What could be worse then? He's a failure. A coward, too. He sent people to their deaths and gained nothing from it. That's how bad he is. That sounds like something personal that has nothing to do with this investigation. Perhaps, but you asked about him, and this is what I know. Judge its relevance yourself. I will. Here's the whole story. Sem was the leader of a small but very effective group of thieves. They were quite notorious in their day. Then one of their numerous victims finally caught up with them, a powerful merchant, embarrassed he couldn't secure his possessions. Broken pride can be an uncanny motivator. How does that make Sem a failure? He was the one they caught first. He gave up everyone, his closest friends, even his pregnant wife. Oh my god, he's like frickin' Robin Hood. You know it's not as simple as that. I imagine torture would eventually break anyone. They didn't even have to lay a finger on him. They just gave him a choice, round out his entire crew or lose his right arm. I'm sure you notice he still has both hands. They made him watch as his whole group died in agony. First his friends, then his wife. And they left him alive afterwards? Did they? It was a matter of honor for the merchant. He made Sem into a walking warning, a very effective one. A forced compact with Istvan was the final touch. Stripping the thief of all his possessions, including his free will, was their idea of justice. Seems almost too cruel to be true. Ask him yourself if you don't believe me. I don't expect him to have the audacity to lie to your face. How do you know all this? It's a long story, one you don't have time for. She slept with them because she sleeps with everyone? I'm just saying. And what's that supposed to mean? Merely that your time is almost up. Istvan will be expecting you soon. How could I forget? However, there's one more thing, perhaps the most important piece of information I can offer. I'm glad you kept it till the very end. Until the very end, then. At this point, learning too much too quickly would probably kill me. We only talked about the people I know well. This one's about a newcomer. You mean Magic Boy? What kind of mischief was he involved in this time? Public urination? Gross indecency? He followed Lev the night of his disappearance. Tell me everything you know. Istvan's guards aren't very observant, but they were explicitly ordered to keep an eye on Lev. After they had beaten the poor man up, they watched him go to the doctor's quarters. He left a moment later, and Galen followed. Unfortunately, they both vanished into an alley afterward. At least that's what the guards I spoke to told me. I'm guessing they had some ale and became even less watchful than usual. Thank you for telling me this. I'm glad I could be of help to you, Yani. Frankly, I don't envy the position you're in, but I certainly can relate. As I said, you can do what you please with this knowledge. Just be safe. She's right. I'm treading on thin ice. Sem's story is gruesome, but Istvan still seems to have much more to do with what happened to Lev. As for Galen, he better have a good explanation. Maybe he's shady. It's really weird how he's shady, but yet he's a character that we're in control of. Hey, it's my favorite defrosted person. Butt kisser. I was looking for you. We need to talk. Aw, are we breaking up already? Don't worry, it's not you, it's me. Are you drunk again? Have you forgotten we have an investigation to conclude? We? I've had enough drama for today. Besides, you're Istvan's new pet. You deal with it. That's exactly what I'm doing. Why were you following Lev that night? And please spare me the sob story about being a responsible doctor. Shit. I thought he was involved in what was happening with the system. As it turns out, I was right. We found him in a hidden chamber where he'd been performing some kind of ritual. Quite a feat for a deranged old man. Seems so. Find anything else while following him? Yani, you know as much as I do. His routine was erratic, and it was impossible to make any sense of his escapades. What about the last one he took? Did you follow him then as well? I didn't. I gave up at that point. That last night, Lev was in bad shape. Why did you let him leave? I'm obligated to help, but I can't force people to be treated. Lev was going through some kind of manic episode and wouldn't listen to reason. I could have tried knocking him unconscious, but that seemed a bit too cruel. If knocking a patient out is the only solution that comes to your mind, perhaps you're not as skilled as you think you are. I gave him a concoction, something for the pain combined with a powerful healing agent. What was in it? Corona Ursina. Corona Ursina. Oh my lord, you know what, just forget it, I can't speak today. Without getting too technical, it works wonders when brewed with love and goodwill. Okay, he's a hippie. Sem met him afterwards and said Lev behaved like he was intoxicated. Could your poison have that effect? Or your potion have that effect? I'm like, poison? Why would she call it that? Because I can't read. What can I say? It's heavy stuff. Before you say anything, please mind that making your patient woozy is a small price for closing their wounds overnight. One last thing. The city's plans are missing. Do you know anything about that? You lost them? We still have our copies in the Academy vaults. Don't be ridiculous. I'm not talking about the documents that were left with the families. I'm talking about the documents that were left with the families. Sorry, love, I wouldn't know anything about that. I'm not as close to Istvan as some people. The Chancellor told me you rarely use plans, but it's hard for me to believe you wouldn't seek them in a time of crisis. We have our ways of getting by without them. And yet you have no idea where the control chamber is. You know I don't. Someone is masking its location. Really? You failed to mention that before. Because you don't believe in this stuff. The Saboteur has way too much knowledge about rituals for me to feel comfortable. You mean someone is keeping it secret using magic? Yes? Oh, yes. Like, yes? I was waiting for him to continue, but I was like, yes. So if your tricks don't work, you still need plans, just like everyone else. I didn't take them. I had no idea you lot left a copy here in the city. It doesn't seem wise, though, does it? I won't discuss our procedures with you. Besides, they were encrypted. I'm telling you for the last time, I didn't know about the plans. Get on with your witch hunt somewhere else. Stop overreacting. I'm done for now. So tell me, friend, should I wear something special for tonight's ceremony? Something flammable for the stake? Oh, please, it's not all about you, you know. See you tonight, Galen. You know what? Oh, screw it. Great, just great. He's a little too defensive. I thought I heard your voice, Yani. Where's Galen? His stew's ready. He stormed out. He looked disturbed when he came in here. Frankly, you don't look too well either. I'm very tired is all. Things don't add up. Istvan wants results tonight, and I haven't even had a chance to sleep since that damn party. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm complaining to you when you just learned... Don't worry about it, you poor thing. Yesterday was a shock, but I came to terms with the fact that I lost Lev years ago. This was the inevitable conclusion. So how's your investigation going? Do you have anything to satisfy Istvan? I really shouldn't talk to you about... Or actually, it's not like it's a real investigation anymore. It wouldn't change anything. It'll make you feel better, at least. I guess. You know, you used to be at the top of my list of suspects. Then I saw your reaction at the bathhouse, and now I feel stupid. I'm sorry. No need to apologize, Yani. I know this is usually how such cases go. You were doing what was expected of an investigator. Thank you. Then I thought about Yukone. She has reason to hate the city. There's the tribes and the whole Kala taboo. She didn't do it. I met her today. She asked a lot of questions, and I realized I misjudged their relationship. I didn't think Yukone was the closest thing to Lev's friend in these last years, no matter how much she tries to hide it. Oh, I think Yukone was the closest thing to Lev's friend in these last years. No matter how much she tries to hide it. She's always distancing herself from her roots, like there's something shameful. People in the city hate, or at best, look down on the tribes. Lev was the only one who was genuinely interested in her culture, even if for the wrong reasons. I can't see how she could ever harm him. Are you sure? I still have some suspicions. I am. Please, Yani, leave her out of this. If she did anything, it would be on Istvan's order. Istvan, I'm afraid, is at the top of my list right now. He has a reasonable motive and enough power to make someone disappear. Not to mention that he insists on sweeping this under the rug as swiftly as possible. Merciful chances, don't tell me you know something. He's offered to take care of Lev before. In his eyes, my husband was nothing but a burden. I didn't think he was being serious, but I always told him not to even think of it. But now, all he cares about are the stars and those devices of his. He's become so disconnected, just like Lev. When this whole thing happened, my first thought was that Istvan was involved. He scares me, and I don't know what to think anymore. Okay, she's totally on his side and she's in love with him, and now all of a sudden she's like, I think he killed him. I don't know. This doesn't sound like a woman who's been afraid of her lover. This sounds like a woman who's trying to pin it on her lover to get away with her own murder. Like, I don't know. I'm just not trusting her right now, like, all of a sudden. I know how that feels. Just today I realized Galen is a prime suspect, too. Don't be absurd. That boy's helped me more than anybody else in this forsaken town. Think about it. A doctor and a volunteer investigator. The last person anyone would ever suspect. A perfect position to tamper with evidence, too. We know so little. We don't even know the exact cause of death. We have to rely on Galen for that. But why, Yanni? Why would he harm Lev? That's the problem. He's the only person with a sensible motive. Without getting into details, Lev was getting too close to secrets that Galen's mentors would prefer to keep hidden. He could have also endangered the city unintentionally. Galen is a skilled poison maker and had the opportunity to administer who knows what to Lev when he treated him. Nobody would second-guess a doctor. Even if he didn't mean to harm Lev, who knows how Lev's body would react given the state he was in. I refuse to believe it. I know people, and I know that boy really wanted to help me. He cared, Yanni. I don't know. I'm just thinking aloud, and it all adds up more than I'd like. You're just tired. You're overthinking things. Maybe. I know it would be easier to point to Sem and be done with it. Sem? Wouldn't that be what Istvan wants, to put a well-known and despised criminal in prison? He could as well be the one who did it. I don't know. I honestly don't know what I should do here. I don't know either. Frankly, I'm not even sure I want to know who killed my poor husband. Even if it was murder after all. People in the city are like family to me, and all families have their dark secrets. If one of them harmed Lev, I'd rather stay ignorant. I can help you with your investigation, but there's one thing I can't help you with your investigation, but there's one thing I can do for you. Yes? We have comfortable rooms upstairs. They're all free during the dead season. I'll give you a key so you can at least catch a few hours sleep. That's very nice of you. Thank you. You're welcome, and don't worry about anything. I'll wake you up before evening. Ooh. Okay, so we'll read this and then we'll check our thingamajigs and then we'll end. Just like that, Yani was the Inquisitor and I was a suspect. A poet once wrote that there's nothing worse than self-righteousness. Now I understood what she meant. I knew Nanagid would scold me for doing something rash, but I was running out of time. I decided to make use of the greenhouse's access to the waters to try an improvised ritual. My goal was to counteract the damage done by the saboteur, and the plant I saved from the frost earlier was going to help. The ritual was going surprisingly well. I work fast under pressure, unless I'm interrupted, that is. Knock, knock, knock. Oh no! My bird is sitting on my chest and he's so fluffy. Nope. Slava says Istvan has threatened to take care of Lev before she's afraid of him. Nothing new in the city. Istvan's guard saw Galen following Lev the night the latter disappeared. Galen claims he gave Lev a powerful healing agent with intoxicating side effects. Galen is sure someone is masking the location of the control chamber with magic. We already did that one. Nothing with Kazia. Nothing with Laura. Laura, I mean, she's a side character, but I don't know. I mean, Lev used to lead a quiet life of a scholar. It was Slava who prompted him to seek adventure. Almost everyone has a grudge against the city. Constance could be considered lucky. When caught, Sem gave up all his friends and family. The families killed them, but left Sem alive. Interesting. Constance finds Yakone's defensiveness about her background suspicious. We're gonna save this. Okay. And I am going to wrap this part up here. And when we come back in the next part, we'll find out more. And I don't know. I really don't know how close we are. I feel like we're getting close to the end because, you know, Yanni's got to make a decision on who the killer is. And of course, I'm recording all of these long before I post them, so it's not like if anybody's like, I totally saw this clue. Like, I have no freaking clue. Like, I have none whatsoever. Like, everybody's suspicious, and there's no, like, I don't know. We're going to end up making the wrong choice and sending the wrong person to jail. Unless it's one of those, like, pick a person and then that person's automatically guilty. Like, you know what I mean? Changes the outcome. I don't know. So, but yeah, so I guess we'll find out. So, I will see you guys next time. Remember to give the video a big thumbs up and subscribe to see more.